Ladies and gentlemen, this is TJK Thomas Johnson, and I'm here to talk about Ghost of Yotei. You know, I'm a little bit late and also a little bit sick, so forgive me if my voice sounds a little bit weird or something like that. But let's talk about Ghost of Yotei for a second, because the event, the state of play for Ghost of Yotei happened in like a few days ago, and lots of people are kind of mixed because the game kind of like looks the same. At least that's what people are talking about now, right? uh, some people are saying that the game looks the same. Some people like what they saw, like they think it is a little bit of an improvement, even if it is like a little bit. And I'm here to give my thoughts about it. And after seeing the event, the state of play, and it's funny because I think that they did something similar with Ghost of Tsushima uh, before the game came out. I think it was like a state of play, a direct, or something like that. Almost like something that Nintendo does to explain what the games have from new. Like the new Super Mario Kart and the Donkey Kong Bonanza. That, if I'm not mistaken, it already came out. Basically, it released right now, and people seem to be enjoying and all this stuff. So I watched the event, and what do I think about it? Is I'm happy. I'm actually pretty happy with what I saw because I was exactly like like other people expecting something crazy, like almost like a innovation or something like that. Of course, it's not that I wasn't expecting something new or something that would be new for the franchise, or I was expecting something like breaking, like technological, like a technological achievement. Even though that when it comes to graphics and stuff like that, that Stranding does deliver that, and that's a Kojima game, and this is a sucker punch game, so I kind of wasn't. I mean, not that they aren't good on their job or aren't good on bringing something new to the table, but I was expecting something crazy, different. I was expecting Ghost of Tsushima 2 or more Ghost of Tsushima, but like in a different setting. And that's exactly what I got, and I'm not mad about it. But the way that I say those things, it almost sounds like there is nothing new that it came from from the game, or the game didn't present. The game did present something new, something different. At least when it comes to the combat, and when it comes to how you interact with the world and stuff like that. And I want to talk a little bit about those things, and a little bit of a concern that I have, that I saw that other people had, but I'm gonna repeat it here right now because I'm really curious about how they're gonna manage that, and how they're gonna manage that other thing, and all this new stuff that they are bringing to the Ghost of Tsushima franchise. And one of those things is uh, one of those things that I want to talk about before going on that is that everything that you saw on Ghost of Tsushima, and of course uh, everything that already was present on the first game is back, and I appreciate that, which is the side quest stuff, the fact that you follow the wind to go after your objectives and stuff like that, and the fact that you get kind of uh, you kind of in the middle of the journey, in the middle of the traveling to your objective, you kind of get distracted to other things and other stuff, and that's one of the things that I love about Ghost of Tsushima One. Is that even though that you follow the wind, you have the objective and stuff like that, and of course the UI appears and disappears every time that you do a move, but every time that you don't do nothing, when you don't mess with stuff, the UI disappears and you kind of get immersive into this world. I love that everything that I love about the first one is coming back here. And of course they are presented about, talking about the exploration and stuff like that. Besides the things that we already have seen from the first game, they are presented to us a new mechanic, which is to make camps and stuff like that, almost like a Red Dead Redemption 2 type of way. And I really like that. I really love that. And they also presented as well the fact that you can create like a wolf pack. The people that you meet along the way can kind of help you out in your journey and stuff like that. Almost like similar with the first game, but over here there's a catch, because every time that you make a camp, you can kind of call them to come by and kind of like give you stuff or offer you something new, like a new custom iron, a new gear, and maybe even new weapons and stuff like that. At least that's what I think about it. But yeah, it's kind of this way how it works, or at least the way that I understand it. And something that kind of this also being really cool, because this is different from the first one. It kind of give me a little bit of a concern, because like in Ghost of Tsushima 1, every place there was almost something that you needed. There's almost something that you gotta go back to this place or this other place, because this place have something that you may not want, that this other place, this other temple or hideout maybe have. And I'm really curious about how this is gonna work. This thing of, uh, the game bring you something from your camp, or you calling for something. Now, of course, you still need to, go to places to talk with somebody, with start a quest or something like that. But I'm really curious about how this the fact that you call people to come bring you stuff for your camp can affect the how valuable or how worth it is to come back to this place again. Because if people go after you, doesn't mean that you need to go after them. And that kind of, I'm very curious about this, because I think it kind of kills up a little bit of a part of the exploration, because in Ghost of Tsushima 1, you always going after places and then come back to other places just to get a new upgrade or doing something that you forgot. And maybe with those things coming after you, you calling those things to your camp, maybe this can get a little bit away from the exploration, or the fact that you need to come back to this place to get something that you want. And I'm really curious how they're gonna handle that, because this is something about Ghost of Tsushima 1 that you always come back to the places, and the fact that you coming back, on the way back you could get distracted about something that you didn't do, or something that you never seen. And I'm really curious how they're gonna handle that. But I trust them. They did such a good job with the first game, which I don't have doubt this. I don't have doubts that this game is gonna be as good, if not better, than the first one. Now, of course, getting into Ghost of Yotei, you may be not feeling like that crazy feeling that you first played, Ghost of Tsushima, because this is the second game of the franchise. When Ghost of Tsushima came out, it came out on a time when people were pissed off with The Last of Us 2, and some people were finding something to play, and this kind of boost the it kind of boosts the players of Ghost of Tsushima, because there was people that were quitting, and there were exiting The Last of Us 2 because half of them thought it was a big disappointment and half of them don't. But the half that did it, they got to play Ghost of Tsushima and they love it. And not just because of that, but because Ghost of Tsushima was like a it was like something else. It was just a great different experience. And of course, maybe you will not feel the same impact, the same my first time playing this with Ghost of Yotei, because I mean, it is Ghost of Tsushima 2 basically, but you know I think it still is gonna be a great experience and stuff like that. And with that, I wanna talk about the combat, because one of the greatest things that Ghost of Tsushima 1 does, which is not groundbreaking, is actually pretty simple and straightforward. Well, for half of the things, depending of how you play it and stuff like that. But one of the crazy things that Ghost of Tsushima 1 does is the combat, because the combat it has such great animations, and not just that, but it feels so good to play. And you see Jin doing all those crazy stuff, and eventually you go and you unlock all the stances and stuff like that. And the crazy thing is that, of course, removing all the skills and the gadgets, which was the kunai, the bombs, sticky bombs, the signs and stuff like that, to kind of differentiate and give a more diverse gameplay. You always was fighting with your katana, basically. You only had a sword, you only had a katana to play through the entire game, and of course you also had the arrow and all those kind of stuff, the kunais and all that, but your main weapon always was the katana. And now we have now we have multiple weapons, and you kind of can do like a Devil May Cry kind of switch to them, which is you go there, you kill people with the double katana, and then you choose the spear, you change to the spear to kind of get like a more range style and stuff like that. And this is pretty good because all of those weapons, at least the little bit that I seen, everything looks pretty fun. The fact that you can combine those styles and stuff like that, you're gonna do for some crazy edits, some crazy gameplay videos and stuff like that, and that's gonna be pretty goddamn fun. And of course, um, one of the things that I saw about those new weapons, the downside of it was that I think, at least as far of everything I've seen, they are kind of changing the instances. Kind of, instead of having instances in Ghost of Yotei, you have the weapons, which is pretty cool. But I still think that they could do something about the new weapons with the new with like the stances. I still think they could, maybe to kind of diversify the gameplay and expand on it. I think instead of just removing the stances, I think it would be really cool if they added the stances with the weapons. Kind of like in a Devil May Cry style. When Dante have all those crazy ass instances, and you kind of change the move set for the weapons that he have and everything like that. Now, of course, if you press circle, he does something different. He does a dash. He gets better with the swords, with weapon styles and stuff like that. I think they could have done something similar, which is like, let's just say you have the dual katanas, which is like great for people with spears and stuff like that. And if you want to play all katana to the whole game, you could use the stances to kind of like to change the advantage. I think I said it right. Advantage of going against people with spears, going against with big people, and bodybuilders and the big guys, and going people with kunais or stuff like that. I think they could have combined both or bring both of those things to the game, stances and new weapons, because I think this would expand. And of course, I get it. Like, this maybe sounds too much, but I think they could have done something like this. So yeah, the downside of the new weapons is that they remove the stances, and that kind of sucks. Actually, that sucks. But at least they are giving us something new. And of course, we need to talk about the companions, which, if I'm not mistaken, I not just saw the wolf in the trailer. Maybe I'm getting crazy, but I think I saw as well a bear. Bro, imagine if you not only get a wolf as a companion to go murder people, murder Mongols and all these motherfuckers. Like, man, and you get like a goddamn bear and a wolf as well to fight with you. Now, of course, maybe I'm saying bullshit. Maybe there is no wolf in the game. There's no bear in the game for you to be allies with. But man, that would be also cool as well, to not just have a wolf but a bear as well. And yeah, man, like, this game overall, I think it looks really cool. And I almost forgot. They also show a new mode, which is gonna be interesting, which is a lo-fi, a lo-fi mode with the, which, if I'm not mistaken, is full of is a mode that you explore the world with musics of lo-fi and musics that are created by if I'm not mistaken, a famous artist. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's pretty famous. Some people talk about that he's part. He's the guy that made musics and soundtracks for very famous anime. So this is gonna be interesting. And something else that I'm really interested with is if they're gonna come back with multiplayer, because multiplayer was there in Ghost of Tsushima. I didn't got to play it, but I mean, everything that I saw, it seemed pretty fun. It seemed like a fun mode to reunite people, reunite players that have been playing Ghost of Tsushima, and kind of like, bring them together to do to do the to play the games that they like and stuff like that, and to kind of have something different besides the single player mode. So I hope they come back with that as well. And yeah, man, like, the game looks pretty goddamn fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. I love Ghost of Tsushima 1, and of course I hope this one succeeds in what he wants to do and where this franchise wanna go at. The game looks, by the way, the game looks really pretty, and I know maybe the graphics are not like level Death Stranding 2, but I never expected that. But people that expected, man, they need to remind themselves why they like Ghost of Tsushima 1. Because if you zoom out to see the textures. I'm sorry, I'm saying everything wrong because I'm very sick. But The textures in that game, in Ghost of Tsushima 1, if you zoom out, bro, shit was ugly. Like, let's not gonna lie, come on. Things were ugly as hell. But the thing that make that game so beautiful wasn't the textures. It wasn't that you zoom out on things and things look ugly. I mean, look pretty. The thing is the art style. The art style, bro. The trees, the environments, and like that Japanese feeling to the world, and the fact that you go to out to discover things with that beautiful view, and all those climatic changes. The rain changes the colors of when it arrives. The sunset, the grass, man. The grass is crazy, man. Like the art style of this game is insane. So if you complain about graphics, the textures, if you're expecting something like Death Stranding 2, man, rethink about that, bro. Because the building wasn't the textures, wasn't actually the graphics. It was the art style. The art style bring all those things together, bro. The gameplay, the story. Ah, by the way, the story. I hope it is good. It's a revenge story, but I love revenge story when they are done well, and I hope this is done pretty well as well. But if there is thing that you don't need to be concerned about is that the gameplay is gonna be nice, the art style gonna be beautiful. I mean, you can see it. When people say it's ugly, I just don't wanna hear, man, because looks far from ugly. I mean, maybe this is ugly for somebody that was expecting GTA 6 level of graphics, but hey, if you're expecting a game with GTA 6 level graphics, just wait for GTA 6, bro. Or you can just play Death Stranding 2 because that is close enough. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is TJK Thomas Johnson, and I think this game gonna be great. Actually, like when I think about it more, I think this game already has everything that I was expecting and a little bit more. Actually, I'm expecting a little bit more. I just don't want the same. I just want more new things. Like I don't know. I don't believe that they reveal everything that the game has to offer. Because if they did, that's kind of a little bit disappointing. But this is still Ghost of Tsushima, and I love Ghost of Tsushima, and the fact that I can play something similar to that. I mean, this is Ghost of Tsushima too, basically. The fact that I can, they're gonna have something with that same feeling and the same experience again. I'm happy with it. Now, if we're talking about real changes, I'm gonna be expecting real changes when Ghost of Tsushima 3 or whatever it's called come out. Now that one I wanna see difference. That one I wanna see something actually different and cool. Like Ghost of Tsushima 3, man, I can't even imagine. But let's focus right now on Ghost of Yotei. I hope it doesn't come with bugs and stuff like that. And yeah. So I take a little time to see if I was right. And yes, there is actually a bear that can be your ally. Man, that's crazy. And man, if that, I don't know if there is like a shot that you can take in the middle of the fight with the bear and stuff like that. But that bear looks pretty goddamn happy to be our enemy. So yeah, we're gonna have a bear as an ally, not just a wolf. That's cool. That's cool. And I think that adds to the fact that he says that Atsu gonna meet multiple allies, and I think they were talking about humans and the wolf, of course. But no, we actually gonna also have a bear as ally, and that's pretty cool because that reminds me of Far Cry 5, where you could have a bear as an ally, which is pretty funny because people compare this game a lot with some Ubisoft games, and in one of them is Assassin's Creed. with all the assassinations, the map, and all those stuff, and the similarities with Assassin's Creed. Although I think Ghost of Tsushima is way better than most of the Assassin's Creed games. And this is coming from Assassin's Creed fan, by the way. I really love Assassin's Creed, but Ghost of Tsushima is on another level. And what is funny is that this bear it also reminds me of Far Cry 5, which you can also be friends with a bear and stuff like that. And also something that I forgot to mention is the variety on the design of the enemies, and of course the weapons as well. We saw they using almost like a some of the enemies using like a not just katana, but also like samurai armor, and of course a little bit almost like a ninja gear on the snow as well, and some double forces and stuff. I think that's how we talk. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but yeah, the variety of enemies, the bear as an ally, and all those other stuff. Man, this game is looking goddamn fun. So yeah, and like and subscribe, and it is what it is.